I'm here with Greg Hampton, head chef of Tjanabi. Welcome to Around Melbourne, Greg.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the restaurant?
The restaurant Tjanabi is Melbourne's own Indigenous-owned restaurant. Our philosophy is to marry regional produce, local foods, with the native flavours that exist in Australia. And our menus are based on the Aboriginal theory of 6 seasons in Melbourne. So each season we try to change our menu to reflect what's happening in the landscape and bring that culture into modern day cuisine.
And how long have you been here at Fitzroy?
Myself, personally?
Yes.
Just under a year.
I see. And prior to that, where were you?
Prior to that, I was in a very large restaurant in Baldwin, an Italian restaurant. I was there for 10 years. And before that, I was working at Red Ochre, which was one of the first Indigenous-based restaurants in Australia. And before that, basically all around Australia. So 22 years travelling around Australia.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
And how do you find the interest in the last couple of years with regard to Indigenous food and philosophy?
When I first dabbled in it 10, 12 years ago, it was a struggle. People weren't accepting of it, whereas now I think people are more open to it. They're more adventurous. We've got some simple dishes on our menu like steak and vegetables and things like that, but then we've got more obscure foods like emu and North Queensland plums and things like that, and people are going for that rather than just a normal everyday steak, which is really exciting because people are more in tune with what's happening now. They're more willing to experiment, so the potential is enormous just to let it grow and really sort of create an Australian cuisine that's different from everything else in the world.
A couple of weeks ago we were talking to Mark Olive as part of the Melbourne Food and Wine Festival. He launched his own book on Indigenous cooking and has started a catering company. So there's obviously interest coming from various sectors, and people have started to identify that there's a genuine interest.
Well, the main thing is a lot of the foods are now more commercially available. They're farmed sustainably, whereas before it was all wild harvest, which means it's seasonal and it varies from year to year. Some years the food's there, some years it's not. Some years it's different to other years, and it's all a bit hit and miss. Whereas now it's all more, it's better organised.
And for the visitor to the restaurant, first-time visitor, that doesn't have any experience in this type of cuisine, is there a staff lead you by the hand a little bit, make a few recommendations? Or
Definitely.
Where do you get on?
It's very daunting to walk into a place like this and see all these ingredients you've never heard of before, and what is this going to taste like? But the thing is, the way I've designed the menu is we've got comfort foods with just a touch of something native. Okay, so you have the option of eating something that's totally different or eating something that's more comfortable. I think if it's all native and it's all in your face, people get intimidated.
So it gives you an opportunity to taste, try, and develop a palate for the new cuisines.
Definitely.
It's great. Yeah. Well, you're certainly in a wonderful location here at, what is it, the Atrium in Fed Square. So you're in the heart of Melbourne, and you're providing a cuisine which is somewhat different to most of the things going on. So
it's not your traditional bistro or fine dining restaurant. It's totally different to anything else that is in Melbourne. There are some people around Australia dabbling in these foods, but not to the same extent as what we are. So I think at the end of the day, it's very exciting.
It certainly sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us on Around Melbourne.
No problem.
See you down here at Tjanabi.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Greg, what are these amazing things we have in front of us?
Okay, so we've got a selection of foods here from around Australia. We've got stuff from the arid zones, stuff from the rainforest, the southeastern temperate regions. And just to experiment the difference between Australian citrus and the rest of the world's citrus. This is a finger lime, okay? The main difference is the flesh comes out like caviar, okay? See those little balls of caviar in there? So, I mean, as a chef, that opens up a whole range of doors for you. I mean, ice creams, cocktails even. I've got some more native limes here. This is a blood lime, again, similar with the flesh, comes out like caviar. Okay, this one's a lot stronger in flavour and colour, obviously. Beautiful fruit.
And what's an example where you would use such an ingredient?
Well, I've got this blood lime on a dish at the moment where I'm using barramundi, crabs, Moreton Bay bugs, and we're making a nice sauce with white wine, cream, a beurre blanc, a basic French sauce, but we're flavouring it with the caviar from the blood lime, and that works really well.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Now, from the arid zone here as well, we've got desert limes, which is another type of lime. The yellow fruit here is a sunrise lime, okay? Another fruit from the arid zones. We've got our basics, which are native pepper, right? So that's a Tasmanian pepper. which is hot like chili when you eat it, very hot. But unlike chili and traditional cooking methods, this loses its heat the more you cook it, which is an interesting thing. And the other thing from this plant is the berry, the pepper berry, which is really intense in flavour, a bit like juniper. Okay, different thing again. Now, instead of using salt in a lot of our foods, our cooking, we use salt bush. Okay, that's old man salt bush from the inland areas. Okay, so the leaves basically taste like similar to the sea. So what we do is we blanch it, we fry it, we crush it up, and we season meats and things with it. Another one from the coastal regions is samphire, this little one here, which basically tastes like the sea. It works beautifully with seafood.
Wonderful.
The little plums here, these are called garbinge or kakadu plum. Each one of these little guys has the same amount of vitamin C as 20 oranges.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, that's the highest known of anything in the world.
Are these available locally? I mean, down the local supermarket, or how does one go about
the local
sourcing?
Supplier for kakadu plums and a lot of these fruits are Robin's Bush Foods in Melbourne. We tend to go straight to the growers, the farmers. Our quandongs here, this fruit here is a desert peach. That's grown in Victoria. So a lot of the stuff we go straight to the farmers. We find it's a much better way to deal with people. Most of our limes come from Western Australia. We have one grower that does all 4 limes now, which is really good. Now back to the herbs and things. This eucalyptus here that we're using, we make ice creams out of it. We smoke with it. We make sauces. Just crush that up and have a smell. That's called strawberry gum.
That's extraordinary.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
I mean, some people call it forest berry herb. Some people call it fruit salad herb. Some people call it strawberry gum. We just run with strawberry gum. I think it's the most appropriate name for it. It gets too confusing otherwise. There's some other beautiful flavours in here. This is lemon myrtle. Okay, we'll crush it up. Smell it. This is very versatile.
It's fabulous.
Anything from desserts to savoury dishes, you can use it anywhere. It's amazing.
An interesting fact is that I understand you have a degree in horticulture. Is that right?
Yeah, and I have a diploma in horticulture. That was something that I'm passionate about, the foods and the plants.
And how do you bring the two?
Well, I find
together?
that having a knowledge of these basic plants and where they come from and how to grow them and all the rest of it gives you an in-depth knowledge into the actual cooking methods. It's quite important to know the basic flavours so that you can incorporate them into cooking.